After a week, let me see if this is working. All right, after a week of not being in the studio, finally we're back. Bad flooding. I think most of the holes are patched now, so we're fine. Last week couldn't do a podcast because it was it was bad weather last weekend and kind of destroyed the whole entire third floor, and so couldn't really do anything. Everything was canceled. The room across that I love to go in, it was closed too. Game rooms were kind of repairing. People went in there, but still, they were not fully back to norm. But now we're back. We got like 7 reviews to talk about. A lot of big stuff happening. Some of the topics we're gonna get into. I finally have all my subscriptions I needed, so more Paramount Plus and Peacock. Although I realized that I had a free thing, so I don't have everything. So I might have to. So I'm gonna get the plan, the premium. I'm gonna have to get the premium plan. I thought I got the premium plan, but it gave me a free thing. So I'm gonna get the premium plan for Peacock. But I do have Paramount Plus, so there will be extra reviews coming. Um, Uni- Universal and Blumhouse spent $400 million to acquire the rights for the Exorcist franchise, and it turns out they should have spent less money because the first movie they released to the public, Exorcist Believer, was a pile of crap, and the creator is original sci-fi done right. And how studios can look at this and be like, we need more original movies to be released in theaters. All right, so let's get into the chaos that we have today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have a best of September video, or no, best of September segment until next week, because after I see all the movies that I need to see in September, I will be done. And like the movies that officially come out in September, because I got reviews for films that came out like months ago that I didn't check out until streaming. Um, and that, so I haven't seen Expendables 4 yet. I haven't heard great things. I might rent it later on in the semester to review once it's like cheap, like $5. Also, what else is there? I did finally get Peacock and Paramount Plus. So there's a lot of shows and movies that I haven't checked out yet. Some that I can rewatch. Pet Cemetery Bloodlines is now on the list. That was a Paramount Plus original film that's finally I can watch. It's a very short movie. It's an hour and 27 minutes, so it's going to be very breezy, very nice, and subtle. So that's going to be on the list. That's going to be coming out next week. I'm going to have a review on that for this stream. Also on Peacock, I will get the premium so I can talk about other films like movies that are on Peacock. Hypnotic is one that I haven't checked out yet. Gotta watch that one. The infamous Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. I'm gonna review that. I'm going to. I haven't heard. I heard atrocious things about it. I'm gonna go watch it, and hopefully it's not the worst movie of the year. Spoiler alert: it might be. Polite Society is one that's there. I have seen Fast X, I have seen Strays, I have seen Demeanor. Those are all Universal movies that go to Peacock. So, and the only reason why I got Peacock is also, well, because I wanted to watch some of those movies and other shows, but mainly because I'm not spending money to go to see Five Nights at Freddy's in a theater of annoying teenagers and people. Or better yet, I'm not going to spend money on a film that I can easily watch for free on streaming like I did with Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, because unfortunately Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, like I said, with Torelli and my other podcast that I did weeks ago. Why does it look like there's like a red mark here? I don't know. But they were not good movies. They were not received well. And so like it felt like a waste of money. And I don't want to do the same thing again. That's why Peacock is why I have it. And I'm looking forward to it, but I'm going in very carefully to not be like, "Oh, yeah, this was not good. Why do we? We should have just watched it at home." So that's mainly why I got Peacock. There's like a lot of shows on there, like The Office, Parks and Recreations, and some movies I want to look at. And then Paramount Plus has all that, the original stuff that I forgot to check out, like the what is there on Paramount Plus? Is there MTV stuff? I don't know. But like I said, Pet Cemetery Bloodline, some original shows that I loved to watch back in the day. I can relive those classics. But yeah, now I have both of the all the streaming platform things. I got Max, Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Prime. Wait a minute, on Max, Apple, Hulu, Disney, Netflix, Prime, Peacock, Amazon. I'm paying for the last two, Peacock and uh Paramount, with my own money. So there, there we go. But yeah, expect more reviews coming next week. It's gonna be fun. Well, actually, I don't even know. Well, yeah, because homecoming's this week, and I might be at homecoming for a while. That's weird. Okay. Um, but no, let's get into the reviews and know why, what happened. So I'm gonna check why. What I have to follow the um. Hold on a second. Let me get the All right. Okay. So let's get into the review. So Exorcist, Creator, Machine, Haunted, Day Clone, Tyrone, Dumb Money, and then Theater Camp. All right. So with that, let's get right into the review. No, I had to touch something real quick. All right. Again, I'm so okay. So this weekend was a sort of an interesting weekend. Saturday. What? Who? Why? Okay. All right. Saturday was finally the day that the newest Exorcist movie, Exorcist Believer, came out, and I was very concerned because a lot of people were very turned off with how David Gordon Green's Halloween movies happened and turned out. And again, listen, I love the first Halloween. The 2018 Halloween is amazing. And then he did the two sequels that kind of was like, yeah, you're not. No, it's not that it's his fault. It's just that the studio wanted more money and more movies. And so there's that. So they announced that they're making a new Exorcist movie. It's going to be part of another new trilogy of films that it's going to be part of a new trilogy that is going to happen within 2 years. It's going to have what's it's The Exorcist Deceiver come out in April of 2025, which I don't know why they would do that, but they already announced a trilogy, and this first movie in the trilogy happened, and this is a like it's I guess it's like the direct sequel because Ellen Burstyn's back, and I finally went to watch it, and this movie's bad. This movie's awful. It's not good. It's not good at all. And I had this was not going to be Halloween. Like I had a feeling this was not going to be Halloween 2018 because it it's much more simple with it's more simpler with Halloween. Halloween is like you just have Michael Myers with a guy in a mask, and you have all this, you have this, this thing, and you know It's just a town of people and Michael Myers kills people. It's simple. It was simple formula. Exorcist is not that. It's much more complicated. You have to do CGI and dub the voices over and makeup and stuff. It's like it costs more. And so you're looking at this film and you're like, okay, what do you got that's different? And the trailers really were just like, it looks creepy, but that's the point of a trailer. It's supposed to make you think like, oh, the movie's going to be good, but then it's not. So what were some of the positives? Positives I can say about this movie. It is an interesting idea. The fact that they have two girls now that are possessed. Well, basically the story of this movie that that this widower had an earthquake in his hometown, and he had to save one or the other, his wife or his unborn child. He saved the child, and so this girl and her other friend go into the woods and want to communicate with her dead mother. Fortunately, that doesn't go right. They both get possessed. And they have to call in people to help them out, especially Ellen Burstyn, who returns as Chris McNeil after 50 years. We'll get into her case why. But I thought the girls were good. I thought the girls that were creepy, they played it really nice. I thought Leslie Odom Jr., who plays the dad, his name is Victor, um, was fine. And the other family, I can't say. I'll just like, who gives? Because the mic is off. Hold on. Yeah, you couldn't hear me, but I said so. But the family of Catherine, you don't care about. But there's a doctor in there who was fine, and Ellen Burstyn returning, she was fine. Um, yeah, that's about it with the positives. Let's dive into this. This movie, man, what $400 million? Why do you have $400 million to get the rights to this trilogy? You don't need it. No, but you don't need $400 million to make a trilogy. I mean, you really don't. And like, you can just have a direct sequel directed by somebody that's not David Gordon Green and make it good. That way, it would have made more money. Because it didn't even make a lot of money. It made like $27 million, and I mean, it's the biggest in the franchise, much like Halloween 2018 was with $76 million opening weekend. But it's a much lower opening than any other Halloween movies that came out in the new trilogy. Like $40 million, $49 million, and then $76 million. That's from Halloween Ends, Kills, and the 2018 one. And you can see they decreased. This one starts out with $27 million. So who knows if this thing declines or rises? But like, you talk about originality in the sequel. It's just nothing you've seen that's new. It's all like very similar. Like the kids get possessed, and the priest is there. The families they're kind of pointless. It's like you've seen stuff in other movies done better, and the way it plays out in like the third act, especially, it just didn't. It didn't click. I thought they didn't click. And then Ellen Burstyn returns as Chris McNeil in this movie, and you can tell they're just doing the whole Halloween 2018 legacy thing, where they're like, okay, what do we got to do to make it like it's a sequel to the original? I know, let's bring back an original character. Well, the main character is dead, right? The priest. Okay, let's bring in the mother. She's alive, right? Yeah, let's bring her in, and let's be like, you have some experience. Yes, more than I like. So they just bring her in. They do nothing with her. There's no like real reason why she's there to be there. And I found out the whole reason why she's even in the movie really is because she's doing it for a good cause. It's not that she has faith in the script, she has faith in this team. She's just doing it because of a good cause and charity to help pay for a scholarship. So she's like, all right, fine. Because she turned it down multiple times. And then to have her on the screen, give her that much screen time, and just waste her up completely is a sin. It's a it's it's a travesty to have someone like her be wasted in a movie like this. It doesn't make any sense to me. Um doesn't work. Uh and then and then like the ending of this movie is like it wasn't a satisfying ending. I can't spoil. I'm not going to spoil the ending. I'm just going to I just want you people to go out and see the film and think about the ending yourself because it's not it's not what I thought like how the movie would end. And it's kind of just like, oh, it ended like that. That's really it's it. Oh, that's it. Okay. I guess that's it. Um, so I have no idea what they did with this film. It's also insanely too long, and I also forgot the editing in this movie is insulting. So the movie also is not really scary. There's like a lot of like three scenes of like loud noises. What the hell is this? Okay. But I the way that they did. Here's the thing. This movie is really not that scary. There's like two scenes where it's like there's like a loud sound. There's like a scene with a snake and then like glass where it's like, okay, that kind of got me. But the way they do jump scares in this movie is weird. So, like, on the original Exorcist movie, there's like this scene where like this face just pops up on the screen and it's just like there's nothing there. It's just silence. And it's just kind of creepy. Well, in this movie, they do that, except they do it for like a split second and it's mid conversation and it's a loud sound. So normally it would just be like people talking. It's like, so hey, were you doing out in the woods? And then it would be like, we were just walking, and then out of nowhere it would just be like, bah! Like that. It would just be like a loud sound with an image, like a creepy image of like somebody possessed or something. And it was like the first time I saw it, I was like, "What the hell was that?" And I thought, "Okay, well, that's not gonna happen again." Oh, it happened again. Oh, it happened again. Oh, it happened again. Oh, it happened again. Like 5 times I counted, and it just got annoying. So the editing is lazy, and the whole movie planned out is just it's lazy. This is a lazy sequel. It's a lazy legacy sequel. It's not good execution. Didn't stick the landing. Editing's really not that good. Characters I don't care about. Waste of Ellen Burstyn and an ending that just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I will say the first 10 minutes of the film were fine because it sets up one of the characters, but that's really it. I mean, I didn't really care. This is better than Halloween Ends. I'll say this. This is better than Halloween Ends, but that's not really saying much as Halloween Ends was just bad. Like Kills was stupid. That was bad. This is bad. So, I'm gonna give this thing a big fat D. It's not good. I don't think people should watch this. It's not worth it. Well, actually, you know what? No, I shouldn't say that. I should let you watch it, but don't take my word for it. Just go and see it. If you want to see a horror movie this Halloween, just go see it. I'm not gonna tell you not to see it. I'm not going to tell you, no, you can't see this movie because I'm telling you it's bad. No, just don't, just do it. Just do it yourself. I don't know what to tell you. Um, what do I have? Okay. So moving on now, we have The Creator, which is an original sci-fi movie that was directed by the guy who created Godzilla in 2014, and as well as Road One. And this is a movie that's an original sci-fi about about AI has taken over the world and humans and AI are at war. And John David Washington plays his soldier, Sergeant Taylor, who goes on a mission to help retrieve a weapon from AI. And they they finally do, and it's a kid, and they trying to grow a connection with each other, and now he's like a wanted man, and so they have to find out and destroy, Armada, which is like the big weapon that kills AI and stuff. So this was a movie I saw the trailer for many times, and I was very excited to see it because it's an original sci-fi movie from the director of Godzilla and Rogue One. And people were marketing this movie as like the greatest sci-fi movie, one of the best sci-fi movie of the year, and the best sci-fi movie of all time, one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. And I was like, wow, this movie, it's getting good praise. And I was very, very nervous going in. And I'll say this, it's not one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time, but this movie's awesome. This movie's awesome. I love this movie. It is really good. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I really enjoyed this movie. And it's not just because like it's something like that's it's well acted, well shot, well action packed, it's well paced. It's just it's a movie that we won't see probably in like 2 years or 3 years or in a long time because like studios want to make these movies that are like based off of true stories or based off of IPs and sequels and stuff and reboots, and that's not really what some of these people want, because if you look at what happened in the box office, some of these sequels don't perform as much as the original film. So who's really asking for these sequels? But I'll tell you this movie was worth it. I mean, it was like everybody's gonna say like, how are the visuals in this movie? This movie looks like it was cost $300 million. Correction, $80 million. This is an $80 million movie, and then you have like $200+ million movies looking like crap, and like The Flash just looks terrible with CGI. Looks bad. This is $80 million, and it just looks so good. It looks so good. Um, they actually shot on location, which is really kind of rare for studios to not use green screen. So they actually shot on location, and it just looks so good. And I'm just so happy that we have a film that's an original sci that's not based off of anything. Now you can see movies in here. You can kind of see like inspirations like to Logan or Last of Us. And I like those things. So I'm happy that there's kind of like some resemblances here. Um, but in the end, like the thing I was really hoping to is if people are going to understand that original sci-fi is really good at what we need, and they did it. I think they did a really good job. They did a really good job of convincing us that original sci-fi or original movies is what we need now to, maybe save the box office. Because if you remember, like Avatar was an original concept, original sci-fi, and I mean, look what happened. The movie managed to make over $2 billion. I guess it was at a time where like nobody knew how like James Cameron did Avatar, and everybody was just blown away. Plus, it came out during Christmas time, and that's where movies tend to make a lot of money. So I mean, there's that. But again, this is an original sci-fi epic that was brilliant. I couldn't think of a real reason why to hate this movie other than like I've complained about how movies are too long and how they're sometimes boring. But this movie, this movie could have been longer. This movie could have been like 10 minutes longer because there's a lot of great stuff that's in this film that I wish I would have explored. But overall, I had a great time with the creator, and I'm going to give it an A. All right, next up, what else did I see? I also saw, let's go down the list. We got creator. It's just unbelievable. We got Dumb Money. Dumb Money. Um, a movie that I was really interested in seeing because it's from the director Craig Gillespie, who directed Cruella, Disney's Cruella, and it's pretty much about the GameStop scandal thing, where this random YouTuber was just like randomly got GameStop and had all of this money on him. So, you know, there's that. And I thought this was pretty good. I think the cast is incredible. From, what is it? You have, what was it? Paul Dano, who was the Riddler in Batman, who's incredible in this movie. You have Shailene Woodley, who plays the wife, who's really good. Everybody's great. Clancy Brown makes an appearance as Mr. Krabs is in this movie. Um, Anthony Ramos, Sebastian Stan, Nick Offerman, Vincent D'Onofrio, um, Seth Rogen, who's amazing in this movie. America Ferrera, who kind of rose now because of Barbie. I mean, there's a lot of people in this film, and they're all really good in this. There's not like a single performance that's really bad. Um, they're all really good, and I do appreciate the director for doing it. Also, I think that the story is really fascinating. About this scandal that really was kind of just like a big event that happened, and just it was kind of hard with people. Like everybody, like they kept shutting it down, and people got pissed, and it was just like, wow. The idea of this, but it's also like the dialogue, it's smart dialogue. It's not stupid dialogue. It's not stupid jokes. It's good jokes that work in really good ways. I'm yawning a lot. I don't know why. Uh, but I will tell you this: it's very tightly paced, great soundtrack. I just had a really good time with this movie. A couple of negatives I would say is that I don't think they tackled a lot of details that I think they should have, which is also why I think this movie could have been like 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes longer, like 2 hours. Um, but not that long, of course. Also, I felt like there were characters that kind of was like sidelined in a way. Like they talk about a sister death in the movie with the main character, or Rory Kitty, who's a YouTube name, and they mention it a couple times, but they don't really go anywhere with it. I think they just mention it, and then that's it. And then and then the end of the movie, they kind of go to her gravestone. But then like we could have saw we could have saw a little bit more from it. But I think they did a really good job. I think they did a pretty good job making this movie, and I enjoyed it. So I'm gonna give Dumb Money a B plus. Why not? Next up is Theater Camp, which is another film that I thought. Wait, did I see? Okay, just had to check. So I did see theater. I watched Theater Camp on Hulu, and I thought I am a machine. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah. So let's go to Theater Camp. So I watched this on Hulu, and pretty much what this is about is about this camp that hosts theater kids, and the original owner, or the best counselor in the world, has a stroke. She's in the hospital, and so her son takes over, and then there are workers there, but her son is kind of like really kind of like dumb and doesn't know what he's doing, and so he's kind of allowing the other people to do it for them. And it's shot and filmed in the way that's like a documentary. And I thought this was pretty good. I didn't really care about any of the characters. I just wanted to have some fun with it. I wanted to laugh a little bit because I actually did think that this was a funny movie. There's a lot of really good jokes in here that are cool and quirky that also add to the film. There's a lot of really good singing and emotion. I think the kids are really good. I forget the kids' names, but I think the actors who played the adults are really good. Molly Gordon actually stars and directs this movie. So she's kind of like the main thing. She's kind of like the jack of all trades, writing, acting, directing. She is really good in this movie, as well as Glenn Platt. And I thought that the dynamic that they had with each other was really good. I also did appreciate the fact that it wasn't a long documentary style film, which is always something that bugs me, just like having these movies long. Again, like the whole idea with Hollywood is the fact that everything needs to be like 2 to 2.5 hours. I mean, Killers of the Flower Moon is like 3 hours long, 3 hours and 26 minutes. What the hell? What the? It's like I'm not gonna say that, but like what? That 3 hours and 26 minutes long. Scorsese, are you kidding me? I'm glad this movie was like under like an hour and 50. I thought that the theater scenes, how they got to where they are, the process of becoming or finishing this play was really fascinating and was really nice. And I just enjoyed it. I think the dialogue and the jokes hit. They were smart. They weren't stupid and they weren't like lazy jokes. They were kind of like good jokes. I'll say my biggest complaint is like there's this whole side plot about this other camp that comes into play towards the end of the film that I just thought was so just like unnecessary and I just didn't really care for it. I didn't care for it then. I don't care for it now. Also, the movie ends kind of just like that. I mean, we don't really have any like res, res, like like resolves. I would say like we're finally like we're reconciling our issues, because there are some things in this movie that are talked about that don't get talked about toward the end. It's kind of weird, you know. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Um, but there's a really funny joke at the end that really is good. But overall, I've thought that this movie was fun, and I thought this was a good film. So, with all that said, I'm gonna give Theater Camp a B. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. All right, next up we have let's do They Clone Tyrone. So They Clone Tyrone is a Netflix original movie. It's a sci-fi Netflix original film. And in this movie we have um it stars John Boyega, Teyonah Parris from the Marvels, Jamie Foxx, and Keith Sutherland. And in this movie, they're kind of in like a hood area of a city, and out of nowhere, one of the guys, John Boyega's character, is like, there's something going on here. This van keeps picking up people and, you know, taking them somewhere. And so they find out where it is. Turns out they're cloning black people and for no reason. And they just keep cloning them and cloning them. And they're able to kind of just get away with it. And so these three people are going to figure it out, like what's really behind all this and stop it. And much like I thought Theater Camp was, I thought this was pretty good. Although I think the opposite of some of the things, like I said, the I think the performances are great. John Boyega is amazing, but Jamie Foxx was hilarious. I loved his comedic tone that he had. It was amazing. Teyonah Parris is really good. Keith Sutherland comes in as the villain. I thought he was pretty good as well. Then moving on to some of the other ones, I think that the cinematography is really good. It's shot like it was taken in the 1960s, which it kind of is. It looks like the 1960s, and I think it works really well. The filming, the cinematography, and the story elements are great. This is another original sci-fi movie that came out of nowhere for me, and I thought that was really good. The issue that I have with the movie is that some of the jokes flew over my head, and I didn't laugh at them. Also, the movie's too long. It's like 2 hours. It could have been Like there's a scene in here that could have been chopped out. It could have been like an hour and 40 minutes. Uh and also I think that the ending of this movie is very confusing. Henceforth, like what was the title supposed to be? Like why? And then I find out, oh, okay, that's what they were doing. But again, like I just thought the movie was fun, energetic. I think the action sequences and the comedy worked, and I thought this was a pretty good film. So I'm gonna rate this one again. I'm gonna rate it the same grade I gave Theater Camp. I'm gonna give it a B. It's pretty good. Pretty good movie. Next up is Haunted Mansion. Now, let me just let me just relax for a minute. Go my steam out. Stretch it a little bit because I did not want to see this one. Uh, I have I have said for many times now with this film that I think the idea of them doing another Haunted Mansion movie is weird because the last film sucked and the cast was really stacked and the the director I haven't heard of, and then I saw the trailers and the trailers didn't really surprise. They didn't get me. Like I didn't think the trailers looked good. I thought it looked too unfunny. I thought it didn't look good to me. That's what I'm saying. I don't think the movie was going to be good. I think it was going to flop, and it flopped badly in theaters. And then I had a chance to finally see it, but I was going to drive my sister to Alabama for the weekend, so I wasn't really able to see it. I did see Talk to Me, and I was happy I saw that movie over this, but it was streaming on Disney Plus this week, and on October 4th, I finally watched Haunted Mansion, and I will tell you this after watching it, I'm glad I watched it on streaming because this movie wasn't good. It was not. It wasn't bad. It just was not good. You know. Here are the things I don't like. Number one is it's too long. It's again, it's 2 hours and 4 minutes. Pace, pace, good pacing helps a movie work. If your movie needs if your movie needs to be 2 hours, then okay. If your movie needs to be an hour and 40 minutes, okay. This movie could have been an hour and 50 or 45 minutes and I wouldn't care. But there's so much extra nonsense that's in this film and extra like bore. Like the movie's honestly kind of a little bit boring when you think about it. Like it just it's weird. Like I'm getting bored talking about it. I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. But no, the movie just was like really boring. Another thing to talk about is the fact that there's this like the movie uses a lot of CGI. It costs like $150 million, and you can feel that some of the budget was not up to par because some of the CGI in this movie does not look good. Some of it looks good. Some of it just looks okay. It's not groundbreaking. I feel like the villain in this movie, like the actual main like ghost and villain, like not the actual like demons and ghosts that are possessing the house that you see throughout the entirety of the film, the actual main villain is wasted, like towards the end, wasted. And it just doesn't work for me. Like they set up him up to be like this terrifying monster of a ghost, and then they have this ending, which makes no sense. So I don't I don't think that they really did something well. Also, this movie is really not that funny, and it's PG-13. It feels this movie feels like it's PG. It really does feel like it's PG because there's not really like that big of a jump scare that happens, like that really startled me. It's just nothing. It's really nothing. So like I would rather watch something that's scary than something that's not scary. The performances were good. Cinematography is okay, but really the story and the script and the writing and the ending and its use of the villain just really didn't work for me. So I'm going to give Haunted Mansion a C minus. It's not really, and I'm kind of glad I didn't spend money on it because I wouldn't have liked it then either. All right, finally, final review is going to be The Machine. This is a comedy that stars Burt Kirster and Mark Hamill, and it's pretty much about uh, this guy years ago robbed a train and took something, and now this woman comes to Russia and asks Bert to give the watch back, give a certain watch back, and it's like, I don't know where it is. You're coming with me back to Russia, and then there's this whole mafia involvement thing going on, and it's just a lot. And just me talking about it, I just didn't really care for it. I didn't like this movie either. It's on Netflix right now. It was a Sony movie, so Sony, once movies are done in theaters, Sony will stream them on Netflix, which is finally why I'm gonna watch Knights of the Zodiac. But yeah, this movie's not good either. It's not good either. Why is it not good? Well, it's I can just sum up this movie quickly. It's another movie that feels like it needs to be longer than it is. It's an hour and 55 minutes, which is easily can be an hour and 40 or 30. Um, the characters really kind of are just like boring. Like you follow along with Mark Hamill and Burt Kirster because they're father and son, but throughout the movie they're not really that interesting. They do some really crazy stuff, but they don't warrant me saying, "Oh, you know what? Those characters are really good." The Russian lady I thought was really good. I thought the performances were fine. There were some characters that were overacting and then some underacting. There's some decent effects that are used. The story is kind of apparently based off of a true story, but again, it, sometimes the jokes didn't land, and that's the worst thing about a comedy is when your jokes don't land. And this movie does have tons of jokes, but they don't. Some of them didn't work for me because I'm just not a stand-up comedian kind of guy. I'm not somebody that goes to stand-up comedy, and I don't think that's funny. So I'm laughing at jokes that I think are funny. Some of these were not funny overall. And the action side of this movie is very bad. Like there's some bad special effect blood and guts that are used in this film that I thought were really lazy. So um overall, I think this movie is not really that good. I'm gonna give it also the same grade, C minus. And again, I'm seeing a lot of films. Hopefully now with my streaming that I missed, and I'm gonna bring the energy next time. Because it's been a long 2 weeks of waiting to do this, and now having to do more. It's a lot. So I think I'm gonna end the stream here because yeah, I did everything I needed to do. I commented on everything I needed to do, and we're fine. So with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Next weekend we'll talk about hopefully Saw X and some Peacock and Paramount Plus original films. With that, my name is Hunter West. This has been the Western Star Movie Podcast signing off. Hoorah!